Hello all, good morning, good evening or good afternoon based on from wherever you are seeing this. Okay, so today we'll be talking about another new feature, which is how you extend an AL interface in the new release of Business Central. So I'm pretty sure quite a few people have used interfaces. If not, let me know into the comments and we'll surely talk about interfaces if that makes sense. But today we'll try to understand what does it mean, how you do it, and then how you use it. So stay with me and stay connected to this series at least, or this channel, because there is a lot of new changes which are very important and we'll be talking about all of those. And how you do that, you subscribe to this channel. Okay, so without wasting further time, let's get into our VS Code and let's try to understand. So let's first get into it and let's find an interface. Okay, and for some reason I cannot see it, which is weird, but let me see AL Explorer. Okay, not a problem. Okay, let's go into AL Explorer and we'll pick an interface, anyone. So let's say group by type, and then I get into interfaces. Okay, these are standard Microsoft interfaces, or if you are using an ISV, you might have other interfaces also. Now till now, the problem is that when you use interface, you don't have a way to kind of extend it. So what you do is you kind of copy paste it and then create your own. And Microsoft understand that this is a problem for the developers, that it becomes time consuming and also creates a lot of gap or over kind of repeating the same thing. So let's pick one of the interface. Let's say feature management. Now what an interface, that I guess is not part of this video, but in brief, a interface is a skeleton of what this interface can does. It's just a collection of function. It does not define how these functions are used or executed, but it just defines what is the minimum requirement to use this interface. Now let's say in this interface there are 4 methods, and I would like to add 2 more methods into it. So as of today, it's not possible, but let's try to use the new feature management extension, or sorry, interface extension object, and see how we can do that. Okay, so here is a interface extension, and I'll go and search for T, and let me zoom this in. Okay, T interface extension. Okay, it is not listed yet, which is true, because it's a little bit different than how you extend a table or a page or a report. You have a type of table extension, page extension, but when you are extending interface, you have to first say interface, because it's your interface, and I'll call it as Saurav interface. This is my new interface name, which is extending the feature management interface. Now in this, I would like to define a new procedure into it called test procedure, and then there is someone else, let's say, who defines an interface, sort of interface 2, who extends feature management and defines a new method. Now I have 2 extension to this object, and here is where it gets a little bit critical, that you need to understand how you use it. So let's get into it. So now typically when you extend any other existing object, you refer to that object and you get with it, right? In case of interface, you have to define an implementation, which happens with a code unit. So let's define a code unit, 0101 number, my code unit, which is implementing the feature management here. Now this code unit will start giving you error down here. If you notice that as you are implementing the interface, you have to define the 4 methods which are listed in this interface. So if you go here, you will see that there is get data, which you are getting error, get feature set enabled, and get dependencies. So far so good. But what happens to the 2 new definition or 2 new procedures that I have added? Now here is where it gets a little bit confusing for people who have thought of extension as a way. But now think about it, that you're not creating an interface extension, you're actually creating an interface which is extending an existing interface. So this becomes a new interface, sort of interface. So now if I try to implement sort of interface, I will now get errors for 5 methods. The test procedure, which is defined in my interface, and all the existing procedures which are defined in the parent interface. And if there is another developer or another extension which is also trying to implement the which also have extended the same the same interface, and when they try to interface call their interface, you will notice that this test procedure changes to test procedure 2. So only interface that you are trying to implement will only get methods from it. So now if I create another method here and say procedure, not like this, okay, like this, what will happen is I'll now get 6 errors, because now this interface, which is already extending an existing interface, have 2 methods defined. So you're getting 2 errors. But if you are implementing this, you'll only get 5 errors because of you haven't implemented this. So while extending interface, remember, you're not extending like typically any other object that you extend. You're actually creating a new interface, and that new interface is taking reference from the existing interface. So you have to define or implement all the method in the actual interface, including with what came new with your interface which you extended from. And you can have multiple interface extension which helps you to solve the problem, because typically in some scenarios where interfaces are used, you don't get all the features or all the procedure that you wanted for your implementation. So now there is a way that you can add more procedures to the existing interface and then refer your new interface, and you don't have to kind of rewrite the whole interface or copy paste the whole interface. Now what's the other benefit of it? When you copy an existing interface to a new interface because the extension was not available, if Microsoft changes the original interface, that changes are not reflected into your new interface that you have copied from. So you always lose the functionality, and there is always a chance of having a gap of extending of copying an interface and then losing some functionality as that gets added into the Microsoft interface or any other ISV interface. With interface extension or extending the interface, you don't lose that capability, because anytime there will be a new change, that'll also reflect in your extended interface that you have created. Hopefully I was clear. If you don't know about interfaces, let me know into the comments. We'll surely talk about it. Till then, you know the drill. If you like the content, hit the like button. If you think this is something that other people, your colleagues and friends and community members should know about, share it on social media so that it gets a better reach and more people understand what this change is about. And if you haven't, then hit the bell icon and subscribe to the channel so we understand what we are doing, how we are doing, and please do let me know into the comments what you think about all these videos. Okay, I'll see you sooner than later into the next video. Till then, keep learning and keep sharing whatever you are learning. Have a nice day.